All right, welcome into another episode of the YHH Junior Hockey Pod. It's been a little while. We wanted to make sure we had enough content for a super good show, and obviously plus all of our random stuff for tangents as well. But we got a lot of things to talk about today. Once again, I'm Sydney Wolf, joined by Peter Odney and Drew Steele. It's currently April, still feeling a little wintry, but we officially got playoffs coming up, so that's cool. And I don't really have a cool opener question, so I'll just ask, what's the most random thing you've seen or done in the last week, Peter?
Most random?
Gotta keep this real fresh, you know.
Oh, crap.
I don't know how many tangents we'll get to on the show today, so might as well just start with a weird question.
Okay.
You know, just the most interesting thing you saw, interesting thing you did.
I started lifting weights regularly.
Okay.
Which is hilarious.
You can't say regularly within the last week.
It's been 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's been 2 weeks.
Okay.
And my wife tried a latte from a place she saw on TikTok.
Oh.
It took 17 minutes to get 2 cups of coffee, and her latte was ube, which is like a Vietnamese squash, and it was disgusting.
Is that the purple thing?
Yeah, it was one of the grossest things I've ever tasted in my life.
It was not worth it.
It was way too sweet. And I love sugar. I love candy. I love maple syrup. I love everything sweet, but that was awful. Terrible.
Okay. Wow. Drew, can you follow that up? What's the most random and or interesting thing you've seen or done in the last week?
I learned that I suck at Rock'em Sock'em robots.
Okay.
How do you even figure that out?
That's a good one.
It was Easter, and my in-laws were in town, and we got Rock'em Sock'em robots for our wedding as one of the gifts.
Sweet.
And it was the first time we broke it out, and my brother-in-law was absolutely destroying me. And for a moment, I thought it was the names of the one dude was had a weaker head than the other dude, and it turns out I just stink.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what family does on Easter.
Yeah. I was beating people's butt at pool though. We have a pool table here too. It's kind of sick.
Beating people's.
You got all the good games at your house, sounds like.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It was an apartment, so it's
Pretty
even better. Okay. Community room for the pool table. Rock'em Sock'em is owned by the Steels.
Nice. Love it.
Oh, okay. I finished in the top 150,000 of all ESPN brackets for March Madness.
Okay.
Wow.
Nice.
That was probably the craziest thing.
I watched 20 seconds of college basketball this season.
Probably same.
Prior to the tournament or during the tournament?
During the tournament.
Legit.
Watch the whole thing. That would be the craziest thing. I mean, other than, the Lord rising. That's pretty crazy.
Okay.
It was Easter last week.
We got a lot of options to go off of that for crazy things. Well, speaking of crazy things, we are getting to the end of the season. Last week we could have recorded, but I'd rather do one slightly, better episode with more content than 2 really short ones. So decided to wait a week. Because now we have USHL playoff dates, which is super cool. And I'll read those. But first, obviously, shout out to the USHL for sponsoring our show. We love the USHL. We know about the amazing development that it provides its players. And we're seeing so many guys this season just take off and do so well. And even get to the ranks of college hockey and do amazing. So we love the USHL. We love what they're doing, the development that they provide their players. And thanks so much for sponsoring the show, USHL. And the bracket for the playoffs, we can do some picks as well. I feel like my picks will probably be bad, but that's okay. That is a segment in itself. Eastern Conference and Western Conference, starting with the East. Youngstown and Dubuque get first round buys, so that is why I will not be listing them off right away. So these are best of 3s, I believe. So the first series is going to be Drew's number 6 Madison Capitals at the number 3 Green Bay Gamblers, and the other series in the East is the number 5 Muskegon Lumberjacks at number 4 Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. Do you guys have any hot takes? Obviously, Drew, I know you're going to be picking the Caps, but any other hot takes for any of these series?
Hot takes, not really, but it's playoff hockey. I think the best of 3 format out of any of like the best of 5 coming. I think that best of 3 kind of favors crazy stuff to happen. So although the Capitals were 1-6, 1-0 against Green Bay this season, why not Madison against Green Bay? Capitals 0-4 at the Resch Center this season, not great. But Caleb Heil didn't start in any of those games, and Caleb Heil's a pretty good goaltender in case you guys didn't know. So I do think that it'll be a tight series there. Cedar Rapids, super hot since Valentine's Day. I think it's 18 games with points out of 19 games or something like that. Their streak snapped on Friday night in a loss against Youngstown. So I think that one will be interesting. The Western Conference, there was a whole bunch of shuffling over the past couple weeks of the season. Sioux City stayed at 3, but at one point Lincoln was like a lock to get the 4. Tri-City was kind of a lock to get the 5, and Des Moines kind of crawled out of a hole, and they're hosting playoff games. The Sioux City games are played at an arena that has 500 seats at them this week. I think that'll be interesting because their building's full this week. So they're playing at their practice arena. Tough break, but could be a sick atmosphere. Like down in New Mexico where the Ice Wolves play the NAHL, their arena sits like less than 800 people. And that was the loudest building in the Null South. So I could definitely see like that arena getting rocking because, like, I don't know, it's a quick turnaround for sales staffs to sell those playoff games, especially like Des Moines. Last week they didn't think they were going to be playing home playoff games, and now they are, right? So you had 4 days to sell the game. So I don't know how packed a lot of these buildings will be. 500 tickets I feel is doable, though. So, hopefully they get the place rocking there. But yeah, I don't have any hot takes, though. I am excited to hear your guys' picks.
Yeah, and I mean, you kind of mentioned it in the West. Sioux Falls and Fargo have buys, so they're not playing right away. And these games, by the way, are April 10th, 11th, 12th. So depending on when you're listening to this, the games might already be going on. And in the West, like you said, Tri-City's at Sioux City. It's the 6 and the 3 seed game, and then Lincoln's at Des Moines. It's the 5-4 seed game. Peter, how about you? Any predictions, any hot takes, any matchups that you think will be more interesting maybe than the others?
Yes, I do think that I don't have, like Drew said, I don't have really hot takes, but I do have a programming note. There is a game between Cedar Rapids and Muskegon that will feature Henry Lechner versus Teddy Lechner, a little Kane versus Abel type rivalry between the two. I don't know which one is Kane and which one is Abel. I just know that Cedar Rapids and Muskegon are going to be going head to head. And Henry's a forward, Teddy's a defenseman.
Augustana too, rivalry. Love it.
Yeah, but that's the only brother versus brother one that I can see. But I've got my picks ready to go. If Drew's got his ready, we'll
I think Sid, I think we need Sid's hot takes.
I'm going to be going just off of vibes, I guess. I never
Sid,
know.
Give us something spicy. Come on.
Sid's got to go first on every
junior
prediction
team. Junior teams in playoffs, it's so weird because you can have like the best team and they go down like immediately. I feel like every year in playoffs for like the NAL, USHL, like any of those leagues, it's always such a crapshoot of like, you never know, best of 3, one goes to overtime, something crazy happens, you get all this weird stuff.
Hot goalie.
Hot goalie. I don't know. It's gonna be tough. I am so sorry, Drew, but I think I gotta go Green Bay with Green Bay Madison. Don't be mad at me. I love the Caps. I do. I know you can't. I know you can't pick against the Caps though. Caps all the way. Caps for the cup.
I don't know if I would, but Peter, what do we got? I like that. We might start using that as the hashtag.
Between Green Bay and Madison, I know you were stumping for your guy Caleb Heil, but Green Bay's got a good goaltender too. Henriquez has been playing really well. He's right ahead of Caleb in terms of goals against average. I'm going to go with Sid. I'm also going to go with Green Bay.
All right.
Okay. Fuel for the fire in Madison.
I have my pick. It's nothing against Henriquez. I think that their team has played more winning hockey this season, so goals against average kind of leans towards teams that play more games where they're winning. Typically,
He's got a
right,
better
you're
save
ahead.
percentage too.
Yeah, save percentage too. I'm not saying he's a bad goaltender by any means, but I do think Caleb Heil is one of the best goalies in the league. You look at a lot of those teams that those top end players or top end goalies are on, goals against, save percentage, wherever, their teams are ranked a lot higher than sixth in their conference. I think a hot goalie can go in and win a couple games. Cap's offense is kind of started to turn around towards the end of the year. It'll be interesting for sure. Jackson never suspended for game one due to a hit against Green Bay last week. Also, this is a game where I would definitely say tune in if you can. If you have Prime Video, the game one will be on Prime Video. Shout out there. But this is we played 8 times against Green Bay this season, and I think there has at least been one misconduct in probably 7 of those games. So tensions have been tight this season. Depending on rosters, who rolls out, which tough guys find their way in the roster. If we find squeaky toys in the apartment, apparently, says Pearl. She's got an opinion on that too. She's probably saying go Caps go, though. So I think as a paid member of the Madison Capital staff, I feel like if I said Green Bay, it'd probably look a little bad. I do think Green Bay's got a solid chance. I think it should go 3 games either way, though. So I think go Caps go.
That's a good prediction. Yeah, saying stuff will go to 3 games. That's always a good way to predict stuff. And then we have the 4-5 seed game, Muskegon and Cedar Rapids. Muskegon, reigning champs, obviously. I think I gotta go kind of chalk here, though. I think I'm gonna go with Cedar Rapids. I don't know. How about you guys?
What's your reasoning for Cedar Rapids?
I don't know. I'm just going off of vibes today. I'm really not going off of – I'm just looking at the roster, and, if I'm getting a good vibe off the names that I see of just familiarity, I'm just picking that. I really am not doing a rhyme or reason besides, I think that I like that roster, just I'm just going to go Cedar Rapids, just based off of the names I see.
All right.
If that makes any sense, which I know it doesn't. But
yeah, makes perfect sense. Peter, I'll jump you in line this time. I also have Cedar Rapids, but it's just because they've been one of the hottest teams in the league since February. Muskegon on the other side kind of limped into the playoffs. They lost their last 4 games going in. Cedar Rapids 3-0-1 against Muskegon during the regular season. I think that the Rough Riders building is one of the toughest places to go and play road games in. Also, Pearl can't stop squeaking this toy, which sorry if that's in the background too much today. But no, you guys can't hear it. Even better. That's fine. But that building's tough to go and play in. So I will say Cedar Rapids there, and I think that leaves it to Peter.
Damn. I was also going to go with Cedar Rapids. They're 9-1 in their last 10. I think this is a case where Muskegon could really have used Tynan Lawrence to stick around just to give Novotny a running mate. But I'll you know what? Hold on. Let me put on my reporter hat. I'm going to go with Muskegon here. I think Muskegon knows how to win when it comes to the Clark Cup playoffs, and I'm going to go a little off the board here with Muskegon. Real ballsy pick there, 5/4.
Yeah, I'm just looking at rosters basically and going do I like this team roster? So based off the players that I know, obviously.
Hard-hitting analysis.
Very hard-hitting, I'm not putting in an essay on these picks. In the West,
that, Johnny Lazarus.
Tri-City plays Sioux City. If I take a quick glance here at some rosters, Drew, do you have any, feelings about Tri-City, Sioux City, Battle of the Cities?
Well, yeah. I think most of them are battles of cities. I don't know if we've named them on.
Oh, yeah.
The only non-city listed on this so far is Tri-City because that's a combination of multiple. I think this is another 6/3. I think Tri-City's goaltender, Pradell, to go along with a 4-1 record against Sioux City this season. They've had their number this year. Sioux City, although, like we mentioned a little bit ago, I think Sioux City with that atmosphere buzzing in the playoffs could be something to see for that first round. neither team's home rink. I think it's where Sioux City practices, I would imagine. I don't know that for sure, though. But the IBP Ice Center is going to be home to Tri-City's upset of Sioux City, in my opinion.
Okay. Peter, how about you? Are you going upset or are you staying safe?
Oh, I'm going to stay with Sioux City here. I think Sioux City's playing real well coming into the playoffs, and I think the numbers bear out that in the battle of the cities as opposed to the battle of the towns, I'll take Sioux City over Tri-City.
Okay. And for me, I mean, honestly, looking at both of these rosters, I'm not really getting like any insane vibes from any of them. Like, I'm not really super crazy on either of these teams, to be honest with you. So kind of a toss-up in my opinion. Maybe I'll be the one to say this series will go 3 games. I know that's not that much of a hot take, but maybe I'll say that as my prediction. And I
no,
guess
you gotta pick a team, yeah.
I guess I'll go with Sioux City, but this to me gives me vibes of like 3 games. I'll say it 3 games, but I'll go Sioux City.
As the person that picked Tri-City in this, they finished 1-9 in the last 10 games of the year. That's kind of a tough look.
I know they were playing a lot of the new guys though, like that came out of high school. So
yeah,
those guys acclimated, you know.
Took the words out of my mouth.
They got a lot of guys that I was gonna mention later in the show. They got, 1, 2, for sure 2, maybe more guys from Minnesota high school coming in. So maybe they're getting some fresh guys, and I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they were just resting the legs for the playoffs. The postseason is the second season, so who knows? I like that
load management.
Their final game of the regular season, like Pradal was sitting, Pilgrim was sitting, Bodie Leyland was sitting, so maybe they were. I don't know.
Yeah. None of them are going to be eligible for postseason awards in the NBA with their 65 game rule. So, might as well get the rest management and get ready for the playoffs. I like that.
And then the last one in the West is Lincoln at Des Moines. That's the 5-4 game. And I'll go first. I'm getting vibes from Lincoln this year. Shout out former KBSC guy Alex Fern down in Lincoln. I'm getting vibes from Lincoln right now, so I'm just gonna pick them. They got a couple guys that I like a lot, so I'll go with the 5 seed in Lincoln. But maybe that's bold. I don't know. Peter, what do you think?
Trader Pete.
I'm rolling with Des Moines for one solid reason. 8 games, 8 losses have been in overtime or in shootout. That's second most losses that have come in extra innings in the league, second only to Cedar Rapids. You take those games that are decided by a bounce or 2 or a half bounce or 2, and you plug those into the win column, you're looking at an 86-point team here. It's just behind Sioux Falls in the Western Conference. I also like the fact that they have a dozen Minnesota kids on that roster.
Yeah, that's true. They do have a trunk.
I'm not a homer at all.
Yeah. Drew, what do you think? Are you going 4 or are you going 5?
4. I think that Des Moines ended the season hot, battled up to get home ice. They're going to use it to their benefit. Lincoln struggled down the stretch of the year. Des Moines did not, although Lincoln knows how to fill the net. I will say that's the one worry, right? You have who's the best player in the series? Lincoln's got that player. Who's the second best player? I honestly don't know, but just with how much Lincoln scores, or has the ability to score, I tend to think that Lincoln probably has the second best player, but home ice matters in the playoffs. Sleeping in your own bed, not sleeping at the La Quinta down the road. I think that that matters in this case, and Des Moines pulls this one out.
It might be Lane Loomer for Lincoln. I think he's the second highest scorer among all skaters in this series. So nobody knows the U show quite like Drew Steele.
Okay.
The best player in the series and the second best player.
Well, we'll have to come back to our picks next week or sometime and see how accurate or how badly we all got it. I'll have to go back and kind of look through everything here. But that is the current playoff bracket. And like we said, the top teams get first round buys. So then we'll probably have some more games to talk about since these are Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday if there's 3 games. So we'll talk about those on the next show. A couple. Oh, yeah, go for it.
I was going to say before we move on, Trader Pete's got a whole list of 8 teams worth of USHL Minnesotans for us. So, Pete, I think we let her rip.
Did you just call me Trader Pete?
Yeah, with that hat, Trader Pete.
This is my dad's son hat. It's also my reporter's hat. when I want to look like a serious journalist, I wear this hat before I log into StreamYard. All right, we're going to run her down. We're going to start with the Eastern Conference with Youngstown, Cooper Simpson, Malachi McKinnon, and I always screw up his name, Ryan White Rabbit, not Wyan White Rabbit. Ryan White Rabbit. Dubuque has 0 Minnesotans on its roster. Green Bay has 8. Gavin Katz, Zach Wooten, Gunnar Comboy, Ethan Sturgis, Max Thompson, Maceo Phillips, Jack Kultgen, and Sam Harris. Cedar Rapids has 6. Henry Lechner, Nate Charlton, Carter Ernst, Carson Young, Hawk Huff, and Mason Miner. Muskegon also has 6. Drew Stewart, Max Cullen, Jack Christ, Nate Selsky, Danny Clares, and Teddy Lechner. Madison's got 9. Titan Bergeson, Max Ryder, Caleb Pitsley, Jackson Nevers, who Drew just noted is suspended for game 1 of the series. Will Doshin, Nolan Gertis, however you pronounce his name, John Stout, Cash Cruitt, Caleb Heil. Out of the Western Conference, Sioux Falls got 5. Actually, no, we're not doing Sioux Falls. I was supposed to leave Youngstown next week, too. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys didn't hear what Youngstown was.
You didn't hear it at all. We'll save Sioux Falls for next week. That's what we call content management. Yeah. We'll save Fargo, too. Sioux City's got 7. Ashton Schultz, Dakota Bailey, Gavin Gary, Luke Gary, Max Anderson, Derek Olson, and Mason Stenger. Des Moines has 12. Reese Wallen, Kaz Carlson, Cade D. St. Hubert, Harper Searles, Drew Roloffs, Riley Zupfer, Nate Garski, Keaton Ori, Henry Schmiel, Barrett Dexheimer, Becker Wenkus, and Nick Coring. Lincoln's got 9. Cade Kahansky, Cole Bronshausen, John Hirschfeld, Will Corton, Casey Vandertop, Nate Peterson at Jackson Rude, KJ Sauer, and Drew Nelson. And Tri-City has 11-ish. Carson Pilgrim, Mason Jensen, Luca Jarvis, Ashton Doms, Evan Warner, Bodie Leyland, Cade Kozak, Max Dessner, Luca Roloff, Quinn Boomer, and Owen Nelson. And the ish is Owen Nelson because he's technically from Hudson, Wisconsin. And if you pretend like Hudson is in Minnesota, or you lay claim to a Hudson-born player who played the bulk of their hockey in Minnesota, people in Hudson, namely some dude named Mike and some dude named Steve, will go nuts.
Is Steve from Steve and Barry's, the old store?
I honestly don't know. All I remember is that during Isaac Howard's draft year, we would tweet stuff like Minnesota products because Isaac Howard played virtually all of his youth and amateur hockey in the state of Minnesota. And every time a tweet like that went out, 2 dudes would hop on like, I don't remember Isaac Howard being born in Minnesota. Well, I don't remember him playing for Wisconsin AAA teams or going to a prep school in Wisconsin or going to a high school in Wisconsin or playing for the Wisconsin Blades. So you tell me.
Or think about it this way. Madison legend Colton Jameson, he considers himself basically a Minnesotan, and he's from Hudson, but he played in Cretin-Derham Hall. So
where is Colton Jameson?
St. Thomas Academy.
He graduated, didn't he?
No, St. Thomas Academy, St. Thomas University. That'd be crazy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Colton Jameson's like 42 years old. I don't think he's still
42.
Wow. He's probably 18.
He is 2004, so I think that would make him 22. No, he's 21. 21 and turns 22 in November.
Wow. Okay. I learned a lot about Colton Jameson right there.
Caps legend.
Okay.
Caps legend, Colton.
Caps legend. Couple other news things to run through here just quickly, and then we'll get into some more fun stuff. USHL Defenseman of the Week is a Minnesotan, so shout out Keaton Ori, I believe also an APX guy, so I wanted to say congrats to him. Currently committed to Miami, and he led USHL defenseman in scoring last weekend with his teammate Rylan Randall. And pretty much all the stars of the week from last week are from Des Moines. So shout out Des Moines, I guess.
Yeah.
Last week, Owen Nelson, formerly of Cretin-Derham Hall. I believe he's also one of those guys, I think, that is a Wisconsin hometown, but technically.
Yeah, he was the one that I just mentioned. He's from Hudson.
Welcome
to the party, like you said, yeah. Getting into that. There are usually, it's Cretin Hill or STA. Like you just mentioned, that's fitting that we were talking about him because I saw a post that said he now has the Tri-City franchise record for saves in a game. Not necessarily maybe a record you want to set, but he made 55 out of 57, I believe, saves in a game. So that's absolutely wild. Shout out to him. That's pretty crazy. And then just a couple other kind of end of regular season things. Alex Pelletier, I assume that's how you say his name, ends the regular season in the USHL as the top goal scorer, point scorer, with a stat line of 48, 37, 85 in 59 games. Absolutely wild. And last year he had 37 points. So he's kind of just had a crazy year. He's committed to BC, obviously. A lot of the top guys are always those BC, BU guys, it seems. And then just another notable as well, Blake Zielinski wins the Goudreau Award. I believe, is this the second annual, Drew? Do you know of the Goudreau Award?
It is. Ethan Wittenbach won year one.
That's right.
Zielinski won
Shout
this
out.
year.
And obviously he's doing so good this year for Quinnipiac. So Blake Zielinski got it. Again, another Des Moines player. So that's super cool. And it says, if you don't know, the award criteria are based on, just players that it seems like are just doing great things on and off the ice. It says on ice excellence of joy, enthusiasm, care, and responsibility goes to the player who best exhibits excellence in hockey, spirit of the game, and care and responsibility. So that's super cool. And it there's a story about him and kind of his family and billets and kind of all that stuff. So if you want to read more about him, that is on the USHL website. And then another goalie record, not a Minnesotan, but Leonards Feldbergs, fun name to say, broke the single season wins franchise record for Sioux Falls, which I think is 35. I'm not exactly sure, based on elite prospects. So that's just some kind of end of season stuff. One of the big things that has come out over the last week that I wanted to talk about, though, that's a little more notable, is that the USHL put out a press release that says kind of in partnership in support of or with the support of USA Hockey, the USHL is basically establishing a SPDA or Standard Player Development Agreement. And this seems very similar to if you see guys signing in Major Junior where it'll say they sign I forgot what it's called, Scholarship and Player Development Agreement or whatever they call it up there. This seems pretty similar, I think. And there's kind of some comments that say this is good, other comments that say it's bad. So I don't know if either of you had any, thoughts on this. Some people are just kind of like, I don't really think it's going to change that much. Other people say this is good for development, and other people are saying this doesn't mean anything. So there's a lot of opinions out there right now.
Peter, I think you take it first. I'm sure my opinion is going to be a lot longer than yours.
Yeah, I bet. I'll just read the press release here. Our path, your pace, which I think is very clever. That was really nicely done. I would venture to guess that Matthew McGreevy had something to do with that phrasing. I really like that. It's nice and short and succinct. With the support of USA Hockey, USHL Standard Player Development Agreements establish a consistent framework across all USHL member clubs and align with the league's development approach. The agreements reflect a shared commitment between players, families, clubs, and the league to provide a structured, safe, and supportive Tier 1 development model. And I read through the article. I didn't get a ton out of it. It just sounded like a bunch of stuff that they were already doing. It mentioned like strength and performance resources, billet family housing, travel support, mental wellness services, and access to elite coaching and competition. I thought that was already happening in the USHL. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe it wasn't. But anything that's good for the players, I'm on board with. So shout out to the USHL for putting it in stone, because I think this is going to become a sticking point when players are evaluating their options between the CHL, the USHL, the NAL, or wherever they might continue their junior hockey career.
Yeah, I think this is a great thing for the league. I think what it does is it puts itself in a spot where it's right next to the CHL. You get a step closer to it, right? Right now, whether or not these things are in place in some markets, I think these standard player development agreements, in theory, it's kind of a contract, right? It gets those players in a spot where you're going to be here for the next year. I don't know if they're multi-year, what they are exactly, but it gets you in a spot where, hey, I'm developing with your program. Your program's investing a lot in me. I'm going to invest myself in your program. I think right now there's a ton in the past offseason, and I would imagine going into this one too, since it was just introduced, there's going to be a ton of movement between leagues. between the USHL to the CHL, from the CHL to the USHL, as players come and go and try to navigate. This leaves it for the league, in my opinion, that talent that's developed in the USHL, a league like the OHL can't come in after that player's been developed for a whole year by the USHL, come in and say, oh, this player's ours. Like, he counts towards our draft number, not yours. I think it makes recruiting easier if you find a player that's better than CHL teams think they are and you sign them to one of these. That means that they're your property, and the CHL has to like agree to that, right? Like, they're under contract or under a standard player development agreement for that team. So I think that's kind of the big piece. Yes, I think most organizations were doing a lot of these things across the board, whether it's travel support, reimbursement, whatever it is. I think a lot of this sort of thing was happening across the league, but it sets a standard where every team in our league has to play at this level because we don't settle for anything less as a league. And at the end of the day, this makes recruiting harder at points, right? It makes it harder at the beginning. But once you have them in your system, like, you get rewarded for developing your talent. Because right now, I think that's been a key over the past 2 years. You look across the CHL and across NHL draft boards of CHL players that look mighty familiar to USHL fans across the board, where, hey, I thought the Capitals drafted that guy. Hey, that guy played in Sioux City last year. Or across the board where it's like, hey, we put time and resources into these players. Not saying you can't leave and go somewhere else, but like, the team's putting resources into somebody, the resources should be put back into the teams in a way. And with this development model, I think it moves the USHL that much closer to the CHL. The CHL right now has had it be the Wild West over the past couple of years. Be like, oh, well, I'll take you off this roster. I'll take you off this roster. Like, there's players from Waterloo that are already signed for CHL teams, right? 3 days after the season, there has to be like some sort of way to protect those players from just leaving your team, right? So I'll be interested to see exactly what this does and how this impacts the league, but I think it's the right step towards success down the line. Whether that success is this offseason or next, I guess we'll find out, right? It'll be completely different a year from now because those contracts haven't been signed or those player agreements haven't been signed yet by players. It'll be cool this offseason. As a person that runs media department for a team, I get content throughout the offseason. Hey, we signed this guy. Woo! Get clicks in the chat. Engagement through the roof. Oh my God, he's coming back. Yay. We'll get a bunch of that. We'll get season ticket holders happy to go. And it'll make July and August a lot more fun on the media side, hopefully. So there we go. We're finding the bright sides for Drew in this and for the league as a whole.
Okay, you found the bright side. Can I bring in just a couple more storm clouds?
Sure.
I would like, yeah, sure. Let me see if I can fend them off if possible.
Okay. One more bright side. I love the fact that one of the provisions in this press release, and you mentioned it a second ago, the insurance. Gosh dang it, where was it? That's Glenn's quote. Glenn, well spoken as always. Career-ending injury insurance reimbursement. For me, that's huge. That was the impetus of one of the first ever landmark NCAA cases where a player was gravely injured in a football game and his wife at the time, that tells you how far back it was, a college student had a wife, wanted to file workman's comp or workers' comp now with the NCAA. And that was when they came up with the distinction as student athlete. So you're a student, therefore you are not eligible for workers' comp as an employee. My question for you, though, Drew, is are players in the USHL considered amateurs?
Yes. And I think right now, athletes in the CHL are considered amateurs by college athletics, right? In theory, right? If they're able to play. Is that
Google tells me that it's a complex issue.
So the other thing is, I think in this, it doesn't say anything about a stipend. I think that's one thing that fans probably are going to take away from this is it doesn't say that the USHL is paying players. I think that's one thing that's where the CHL still has the quote unquote upper hand, because they can say, oh, well, here's your stipend. Your stipend's $70 million in theory. And then NCAA will have to allow him to play, right? Like if Gavin McKenna's getting 7 figures to go play at Penn State, why can't a player get 7 figures to go play in Red Deer? You know what I mean?
So
Like,
yeah, so that's my question is if USHL players are still considered technically amateurs, and I'm in full agreement with you that I think a contract works both ways. Like it helps USHL franchises prepare for the future. It helps players develop a more consistent routine, and it also protects players and families from advisors or agents who are a little more, I don't want to say predatory, but they have happy feet a little more than they probably should. So I think it protects a lot of parties involved. But if I were a labor lawyer, I would say if you're considered an amateur, this contract feels an awful lot like a professionally obligated contract minus getting paid for a service that you are providing. So if I were a lawyer with a lot of time on my hands and a ton of paralegals, I might want to take a look at this.
I would wonder if that's why the term contract isn't used at all in that article, right? It's an agreement more than a contract. Now, what's the difference between an agreement and a contract? I don't know. To me, it looks like it should be just phrases of contract, but I think that the league office has a little bit of thought going into it, I would imagine, and with teams' help around the league, I would assume, involved in this as well, trying to figure out, hey, how should we word this? And probably lawyers were involved, I would guess, in the planning of this, just because it is monumental for the league, right? Like, hey, yeah. I could sign a player that had the greatest year ever in the NAL this season, and next year he could turn out to be nothing. And that player's still on your team, and you still have all these obligations to him because you agreed to an agreement with them, right? So that's where I think it'll be interesting into next season. Like this year, say you got cut from your USHL team, you agreed to an off-season player agreement, and you get cut in September, the USHL team should still be obligated to all of that then, right? Just in theory. I don't know that for a fact, but
you just said it though, in theory. So in theory, a player, like if you sign the leading scorer out of the NAL and they turn out not to be good and you kick him to the end of the bench, is that player receiving all of these benefits? If you sign a player agreement for $50,000, let's say for the season, even if you're kicked to the end of the bench, that is still a concrete number that you are receiving for services rendered. There's no number in this press release. So how do we know that a player who shows up after signing a player agreement, doesn't play up to standard, goes to the end of the bench, or is even a healthy scratch, is still getting these things such as travel support or mental wellness? Like you can quantify $50,000 as a contract. I don't think you can quantify in concrete numbers travel support, mental wellness services, or access to elite training and coaching.
Yeah, I think it'll be gray area a lot of the time, and I can completely see where you're coming from, where it's like, hey, we might want to look into this if you're a law firm out there. I'm
assuming the USHL has lawyers too. I don't know who the league's general 100%. Counsel is, but I'm assuming they have lawyers too.
100%. They do. And a lot of those, I think, probably, like, including defined travel support, there's probably a definition. They're just not putting it out there to the general public. I would take a wild guess that it's in those contracts, right? Like, hey, this is what you get if you're flying in from Europe to come and play for the team. That's paid for, I would imagine. I don't know that for a fact. Like, what's included in the contract is like a player that lives in Milwaukee is in that contract included, hey, you can fly to Madison to skate with the team. I don't know. That's above my head. The off-season training reimbursement, I would imagine that's a flat rate across the league, which I guess in theory would be money, but it's more of a reimbursement versus a stipend would be different in my mind. I don't know for a fact, right? Because that's paid out of your pocket and we're just returning that to you. I don't know for a fact there, but and the big part is I think there's a lot of good in this. And like, yeah, you can pick apart a lot of releases that come out, right? Like you can pick apart a WHL team signing 2 USHL players a week after the season ends. You can pick apart a lot of different things. I just think this is a step in the right direction for the league. And yeah, there'll be hiccups with it. I think this offseason is still going to end up being the Wild West with player movement going back and forth, as it's already been seen before the playoffs have even commenced in the league. So I can just imagine how much more it's going to be throughout the rest of the summer. I would hope that this at least puts a pause on the Wild West, or at least slows it down a little bit moving forward, where it's not just, hey, this kid played for Tri-City this season, played great throughout the year. CHL team can just come down and say, you know what, I'll take you, and then they're just gone. I think that's the big thing from the league's perspective. It protects the league in that side. And what's the league going to give back? It's that reimbursement. It's the insurance. It's the education support for that secondary side. Like, there's a big piece of junior hockey that I think gets pushed aside a lot of the time. It's the education side. If you're an age out who would be going in that first half of the year, your birth year, you have to start school right away. So there's kids in this league that are in college, but then there's also 16-year-olds who are trying to finish up high school. So it's a weird balance across the board. I'll be very interested to see just what comes from it, though, right? Like, we can be sitting here talking about it, and who knows, next offseason we could be introducing this new thing because this didn't work. Or we could be saying, oh my God, the standard player agreement thing, unbelievable, worked out well. I think the standard player agreement is what they use in the CHL too, is the technical term for it too. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just hit copy and paste a little bit with it too.
And gotcha. we could go for like another 20 minutes of evaluating why this player agreement would allow players the flexibility to do what's best for them, which is basically like, yeah, if you want to leave the USHL to go play college hockey, that's fine. But how dare you leave the USHL to play in the CHL? Now, is that to protect the USHL from what they consider to be a direct competitor, or is that truly in the best interest of the player? But we could go on and on for hours, and Sydney is sitting there going, would you guys shut up? Because neither of you are lawyers, even though I cosplay one, and I've watched a lot of Law and Order, and I do enjoy labor law. It is one of my many hobbies. But Drew, you and I could go on and on and on about this.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm free after the show for a little bit. Wife's at a track meet. She coaches track. So, like, Pearl's been whining in the background, but, like, we'll be all right. Like, we can kick it for a little bit after the pod.
I'll crack open an O'Doul's Amber, one of the top NA brews on the market, and we'll what do you got in there?
Water.
Okay.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm kind of dry right now, so it might be a refill. Well, actually, probably not the next one. But
that's okay. We can skip a few. We'll come back to that, Drew. We'll go through some other stuff.
I'm gonna go get a refill.
I'll come back to that. Just a couple other shout outs.
Screen the whole time though.
A couple other shout outs before Drew has to talk some more.
Look at all those bobbleheads.
Yeah.
You like those?
Look at this little army of porcelain men.
My wife hates them. Anthony Edwards is up here 4 times, I think.
Okay. Sweet. A couple of shout outs before Drew has to come talk some more. Shout out to Lincoln's equipment manager and athletic trainer Corey Courtney. Does his 2000th game. That's wild. Omaha has a tender. They tender Maddie Lynn, a forward from the BK Selects. Cedar Rapids Rough Riders tender Blake Wilczowski, a forward.
Stud. That kid is a baller.
Academy. He is? Okay, I didn't know him. So
absolute baller.
And then a couple Minnesota players debuting in the USHL that I'm not sure if I mentioned on the last show. John Whistler, Liam Schultz, Lincoln Ayers-Assad, Wyatt Kuznick, Evan Warner, plus his first USHL goal. Jace Panzer, Becker and Miller-Winkus, Hayden Ryerson, and Cole Brownshausen, who's been tearing it up. He's got 6 points in like 7 games right now, so he's adjusting great.
Hell yeah, he does.
A couple players playing real well. And then just another quick fun thing before I ask Drew another question. Sam Rennick had a goalie goal, so that's always a fun occurrence. I feel like we've had a couple this year throughout junior hockey. Like there was a Kai Weigel one in the Null, like kind of fun to see.
They're trying it more.
I always love it when that happens and goalies get to do a celly and go through the line. That's always so fun to see. So that's super cool.
More and more goalies are getting more aggressive.
Yeah, maybe they're
trying
just
to
going
score
for it more.
goals.
I don't know. But Drew, some other big news. I don't know if you have too many comments on it, but Andy Brandt extended through 2030, 2031. So that's obviously big news out there in Caps land.
Yeah, I think that it's great for the program moving into a new building, having that stability continue and moving in the right direction. I think you look over the past 10 years prior to Andy Brandt, stability wouldn't be the word I would use to describe the head coaching position for the Madison Capitals. So I think it's pretty neat that he's there and will be there for the long term, will be here for the long term, I should say. And I think it's good, right? He's it's his third season, and I think it's 9 wins away from the team record for wins by a head coach. And that was back before they played the 60-game schedule. Scott Owens had it at 115. So that'll be coming next year as long as you don't have an Omaha 24-25 type season. But yeah, Andy Brandt's turned the program around. I think realistically, Andy Brandt this offseason could have had a lot of other opportunities. And I think it means a lot to the program in Madison and what ownership has put in and what our front office has done that he's choosing to stay, right? Like a coach that has as many wins, the win percentage that he does over the past 3 seasons. I think there's probably options out there. You look at other coaches that have had similar success in the short stint that Andy Brandt's had. They've moved on to AHL, NCAA. But Andy Brandt choosing to stay is something that is admirable. And shout out Brando. I'm also going to break some news on the pod. I'm the person who edits the pod and can make sure that it doesn't get out before we send it out. We mentioned some tenders. Why not throw another one into the mix? Quinn Kaiser signed a tender this afternoon with the Madison Capitals. Team Illinois 15U AAA. Played with Team TPH at the OHL Cup. So it'll be cool to have him next year. Obviously, trusting our crew here. We're not leaking it online. I don't know how much engagement that's going to be anyway, for a Minnesota pod. But shout out that as well. His agreement was waiting on Andy Brandt's extension. Would not be surprised if there's some more coming down the tracks too, right? Like, would you commit to a place not knowing who the coach is going to be? I would guess Rylan Rooney would want a second chance to go back and sign a tender last offseason, knowing that the coaching staff wasn't going to be the same, right? So eventually he got his way out, but it's interesting for sure. And I'm very excited for the future in Madison, and the future started today. Roster spot number 1, contract number 1, or a player agreement number 1 given out for the 26-27 season.
Nice.
You are an incredible hype man, Drew.
Love it.
Well, I do sell tickets too, so I got to do this on the phone.
Yeah.
You guys have to come.
I bet you're a hell of a salesman. I'm ready to run through a wall right now for Andy Brandt.
Yeah.
Who isn't, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, contract extension is always good in juniors because I feel like the teams that have the most turnover usually struggle the most. So some consistent coaching staff, I think, is always good for most teams. So that was cool to see. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I thought I'd just throw it in there that there was a couple people freaking out on junior hockey Facebook groups because it sounds like the NCAA is going to be voting soon on 5-year eligibility in the NCAA, but that's only if, I guess, you enter like right after you graduate high school or like your 19th birthday. There's like stipulations to it. Otherwise, you just get 4 years as normal. Like there's some asterisks next to it. So personally, I don't really think it would affect junior hockey all that much, unless you're really trying to get to juniors first and then go to college. But if you're that good to join juniors early, you're not going to be playing 5 years of college hockey anyway. So I don't know if you guys had any hot takes, but I don't really feel like it's, unless they make it really crazy rules, I don't think that's going to have too crazy of an effect if that happens.
The only people I could see it having an effect on is like, if a player leaves junior, like right when they're supposed to leave high school hockey, I have a cough coming here at some point, so don't be shocked if that comes in the middle of this. But if a player leaves junior hockey right at their 18 year, right, so before their 19th birthday, and they don't develop at the college level. I don't think that's going to be the case for the player I'm going to use an example of, but Mason Moe went into high school or went into college hockey where he would have been a freshman in college normally. So in theory, he could play for another 4 years if this passes, correct?
Yeah, I feel like that'd be the only situation, really.
And with roster caps now, I feel like college hockey is going to get older anyway, correct? Like at some point, they're not going to be fielding teams of 35 because, we can have them here for 5 years. Like, I don't think that's going to happen anyway. So I think it's beneficial for players like a Mason Moe type player who goes in as a freshman where you'd normally be a freshman in college, but I don't know how much it affects it otherwise. I'm glad to hear. I didn't know that it was for people that went in at that point. I think
it's you only get 5 years because some people are like, oh, you get 5 years unlimited, and I think the stipulation was it's 5 years from either like when you graduate or when you turn like 19 or something like that. So it's not like it's not like everybody's just getting unlimited. Like if you played juniors like a regular after high school regularly, it'd just be 4 years as normal.
So like if you go in when you're 21, you're not limited to 3 though.
So I don't feel like it would affect hockey as much as other sports because other sports, obviously you're not playing juniors, you're just going straight to college. That'd be a lot different then. But like in hockey, it's pretty rare you're getting true freshmen. So I don't feel like it's that big of a deal. I just wanted to throw it into the show.
I'd hard disagree that it would affect other sports more than hockey. Because if you are a Drew Stewart type kid where like how old is Drew Stewart right now? He's got to be 20, right? He's in his third season of USHL hockey.
I don't know.
Pulling it up.
So what I'm saying is if you graduate from high school and you burn the entire runway in junior hockey, if this stipulation says that your clock, because that's what it used to be, right? Like once you started playing collegiate athletics, whether it was JUCO, D3, D2, or D1, you had a clock that would run out, which is why guys could go to JUCO for 2 years, then only get 2 years to play Division I or Division wherever, barring injury, because the injury there. Red shirts used to be just, you could red shirt if you weren't fully developed or if you got hurt. And then there's the medical gray shirt. And then there's the hardship gray shirt, I believe. Number one, this should prove to literally everybody that the NCAA and the country writ large comparably does not give a shit about hockey. They do not care if this is a real stipulation that the clock starts right after your high school graduation. They don't care. Now, if the clock if you burn all the runway in junior hockey and then your clock starts when you enter college hockey and you have 5 years to complete,
that would be different.
That to me, that makes the most sense because no other sport has juniors, right? So to me, it doesn't really affect the kids that you graduate from high school and you immediately go to the college ranks and your clock starts no matter where you're playing D3, D2, JUCO, or D1. But for hockey, it's the only sport that has this odd little gap, 3 years where you play hockey but don't necessarily go to school. So if those are the two biggest headlines from that legislation or from those bylaws, then clearly the NCAA does not care about the hockey ecosystem. And that could throw off the timeline and the path for a ton of guys who might not have a place to play right now if you've burned up all of that junior time.
Yeah. Well, cool. Just wanted to throw that into the show because I know I saw a lot of people discussing that today because I think that might be something coming up soon that they're going to vote on.
Screw the NCAA, by the way.
Thought I'd throw that in there. And then just briefly, this has been out for a while, so we don't really need to talk about it too much, but Minnesotans named to the NTDP include Henry Buttweiler, Joey Cullen, Landon Knott, Maverick McKinnon, Mason Schemenauer, Dean Stevens, Brooks Suter, and RJ Thompson. So not necessarily anything super surprising. Cool to see Landon Knott make it from Bemidji. Shout out Bemidji.
Those snaps.
Not necessarily anything too surprising, though. And before we get into a couple last things here, shout out to our other sponsor, APX Hockey. If you're looking for elite training and development or you need an awesome advisor, we got you covered, apx-hockey.com. I have all the transfer portals up right now as well if you are interested in all that craziness. If you look at my Twitter, I got all those linked, or you can click on the news and then the databases tab on our website. And I got a feature on Keegan Davis coming out this Friday. Talking to him about his journey through hockey. So yeah, shout out APX. Thanks for sponsoring the show. And then just a couple other notables. We talked last week that whenever there's college coaching changes, obviously there's commitments, decommitments, flips, all that stuff. So just a couple of things I've already noticed from Brett Larson moving to Minnesota now. Couple decommits from St. Cloud, including Hawk Huff, who I believe was a former Wayzata defender. A non-Minnesotan too who committed to St. Cloud, Joey McGraw. He's a forward playing for Sioux Falls. Not a guy who has a ton of points this year, but he's a guy who's actually on his third commit. I talked to him a long time ago. He originally committed to Army West Point and then committed to Ohio State when he got in the USHL and then committed to St. Cloud this year. So now looking, I think, for another school because I went on his Instagram and couldn't find any commitment post anymore. So a couple guys decommitting from St. Cloud. I'm assuming Hawk Huff is probably going to be a Gopher just based off Minnesotan. He is a Minnesotan. Joey McGraw, I'd assume, is not, but you never know. And then Bodie Leyland, we've talked about the Leylands. With his dad getting hired for the Gophers, he decommits from St. Thomas, assuming he's also going to be a Gopher. We'll see. And then with Brett Larson moving into Minnesota as well, Matthew Grimes decommits from the Gophers. He's had a pretty good year, so that'll be somebody who will be looking for someplace else. Yes, Drew. I don't think we can hear you. I think you're muted. I just saw you raise your hand.
Sorry. You would think StreamYard would have a function where I raise my hand, it automatically unmutes me. On Sioux Falls' website, Matthew Grimes, so they must not update it very frequently, says University of Minnesota on it still, but Joe McGraw has UMass Lowell listed as his commit on maybe Sioux Falls' website.
Maybe he's flipped it already. I don't know. I just was looking because I was curious, but that'd be a little interesting because that'd be his fourth commitment. So that's a little.
I mean, I would assume that unless he was committed to UMass Lowell in the past, that this has to be
Yeah, he was not. It was Army, and then it was Ohio State, I believe, and then St. Cloud.
I don't think UMass Lowell gets typed in accidentally.
No, I'm gonna screenshot that. Drew. That's a scoop. I'm gonna go screenshot that right now.
Can I get a little at in the?
Yeah, I'll do cred at Drew Steele.
Huge. Just
or
say
scoop from at Drew Steele. Yeah, it does say UMass Lowell. Wow, good scoop, Drew.
Yeah.
Shout out. And then a couple other ones. Providence, it looks like, is letting go of a couple people. Colin Sisson decommits from Providence. I actually talked to him a long time ago when he originally committed there. From Rhode Island, it sounds like he wanted to play NCAA probably this next year, but Providence wanted him to wait. Another Providence decommit as well that I heard about is Marco Sinersha. I believe he's playing with Chicago. And then a couple other ones, Connor Davis, former Northeastern commit in Cedar Rapids, no longer with that logo there. He's about a point per game player, so I'm sure he'll have other offers. And Rochester, Minnesota's own JT Veney, I'm not exactly sure pronunciation of that. They're both Vini. Thank you, Peter. Originally a Union commit, flipped to Army, now committed to Long Island, going out to New York. Currently, I believe he's in Chilliwack of the BCHL. So.
Fins up.
Yeah, fins up. Other news and notes, not too many. I just had a couple here. Corpus Christi did have a head coaching change in the Null. Thought that was noteworthy to throw in there. We don't have a ton of Null news today.
Yes, I have insight on the Corpus Christi. Yep. I have insight on the Corpus Christi.
You do? Okay.
Change.
Okay.
I'm not going to say who my source is down there.
Oh, okay. I totally don't know.
No, actually, you might not. I spent a year down there, so it may not be from who you think it's from.
Okay.
But I hear that there was some turmoil after a loss and a bag skate that led to that happening on a weekend for a team that is a playoff team, and they took one loss a little too serious. And I don't know this for a fact. Like I said,
I haven't seen anything on Vietnam yet. I'm surprised.
Things could be not true, but from what I understand is that he was not very liked in the locker room, and that it wasn't a shock that this would have happened at some point, but before the playoffs was kind of a shock, and that one event led to the coaching change. So shout out Ryan Gill taking over. I don't know who that is, but
it says their assistant. Yeah, I don't know.
He didn't. St. Jacques didn't make it 1 year because they had a different coach last year. He's now in Adirondack, I think, in the ECHL. So very interesting jumps around, but we have insight. Shout out.
Oh wow, I did see that. Kind of crazy. So I just thought that was interesting and notable as well. So threw that in there. And then I know we never talk about the NA3. That's just not really what we do on the show. But I wanted to say shout out all the Minnesotans. There's so many on Granite City Lumberjacks. They just won the Fraser Cup. So shout out to all those guys. There's a ton of Chaska-Chan guys on that team. So if you're looking for like a team that's not NAL or USHL, or a team that we don't normally talk about that you want to root for, they've been killing it the last few years. I feel like they win a cup every couple of years. And I know that they always pack the Sauk Rapids, what is that, Sports Arena East or whatever the name is, rink.
They get more fans than the Norsemen.
Yeah, like they have a ton of fans, and just I wanted to shout them out because they have a ton of Minnesotans on the roster. I actually talked to one of our advising guys, Nathan Mock, who's the goalie shutout in the championship game. He's from Chan, and there's a ton of other Chaska-Chan guys too. Like Ty Smith had like 43 goals, which was like 42 more than the next guy on the roster. So just some crazy stats coming out of Granite City this year. So I thought that deserved a mention, just because they got so many familiar names I'm sure our listeners would know. So, if you're ever looking for a different tier of hockey to watch, next year Lumberjacks might be fire again. I don't know.
There are 3 guys from Sauk Rapids on the roster.
Yeah, they have a ton of Minnesotans.
5.
They have a lot.
5 guys from Sauk Rapids.
And think about if you can win with Sauk Rapids players. Imagine what you could do with some other teams around the area there.
I think they're just recruiting all the Minnesotans. All the Minnesotans who like couldn't quite make a NAL roster, but they're all really good still, and they're just like going to the Lumberjacks. But we got some great guys, like I said, Ty Smith, Colton Wasson-Gesso, and Micah Saxon, who I think are all Chan guys, which is kind of funny. That they just recruited like a chunk of the team.
Is that a little harsh, Peter?
Chaska-Chan guy? Huh?
Ooh.
Is that
winning with Sauk Rapids guys?
Yeah. Is that a little harsh?
I wouldn't consider it harsh.
Not Chaska-Chan youth, but like Chan High School, I guess. Some of them.
Oh, okay.
I
saw his hometown was. I saw his hometown was Aledo, Illinois. I didn't realize he was an out-of-state kid. I remember him from Chaska-Chan's youth program, but
which one?
Ty Smith.
Oh, Ty Smith.
Yeah, I've never known him as Ty Smith though. I've always known him as Tyler.
Yeah,
that was his name in our programs.
I guess
Wasson-Gesso. I don't know if he was Chaska-Chan the whole way.
He was Chaska High School. So there's some guys that were Chaska High School, some that were Chan. I know, but they all have Chaska or Chaska-Chan connections.
And little Wasson-Gesso played for Shakopee last year. I believe it's Colton's younger brother, Tristan.
Yeah, Colton played 2 years for Chan, but it looks like he played New Ulm Sleepy Eye, I think, youth. So guys that have a lot of connections. That's what it says on Lead Prospects. I don't know. I'm not fact checking that.
Here's a fun fact about Sauk Rapids. They're ranked below Pine City every single year in the section. So that's why I bring that up.
They're doing a little better.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing better, but they're not doing better than Pine.
They'll do better in the future. I'll support them. My house is in the Sauk Rapids School District, so I'll become a fan.
Yeah, go ahead and become a fan and get used to eating Pine City's dust each year.
I'll tell them we really need to beat Pine City. But yeah. Oh my gosh, I have a bunch of Twitter mentions right now. Okay, I need to we should wrap this up.
Okay, I got one last thing.
Yeah.
I just looked up that NCAA 5-year eligibility thing, and
Yeah.
it's literally a 5-year window starting at high school graduation or age 19, whichever comes first. So yes, once you graduate from high school, your 5-year clock has started, which would throw things off for a bunch of hockey players.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I'm having so many people to message me.
Got?
Just
anything good? Let's get a scoop out there.
This is a tweet from somebody that I cannot confirm the credibility, but somebody said Lindenwood's Nolan seed to Portal.
There you go.
Can't confirm it yet, but I'll
Did you guys
read
feel
it.
that?
Anonymous.
Did you feel the earth move a little bit there?
Yeah, well, you know what that is? That's a seed planted.
Oh shit! What?
Oh, U Sports transfer, shaking the world.
Wow.
Whoa!
Holy cow!
That's crazy.
Because I can't send.
Are you
messages.
guys gonna be able to sleep tonight? I'm not after hearing that.
Why does it say
I won't be able to?
messages?
I don't have my magnesium with
Send a
me.
direct message to this person. What? Okay, I don't know. I need to figure out my. A lot of my.
I don't know. I
message
think
requests
we can
don't
come up with a
stay
couple new topics. I don't know how we're gonna. The APX portal factor is gonna be a bit slow here.
I keep getting message requests that are getting sent to my spam, which is really annoying. But okay, one last thing. I just wanted to give one last shout out. The Rochester in the Null, their equipment manager, Freddie Peters, was the e-bug, I believe, for it sounds like maybe some practices, a game in the AHL. So you don't see that every day. I just saw that they posted it, and I thought that was kind of amazing. So love to see it. Yeah, practiced with the Rochester Americans of the AHL. So equipment manager to e-bug. Cool.
Frederick Peters, also the alias of a character in The Sopranos.
Wow.
Well, that's him.
You're welcome.
Wow. Okay, well, it's 8:00. We've been recording for over an hour. So you guys got anything else you'd like to tack on here before we wrap things up? I think
another thing.
Well, we do have to kind of make the portal just wait a little bit, you know? Like, portal isn't actually open for anybody but Minnesota, Mercyhurst, and St. Cloud for a while still, right? Or is it open? Alaska,
Portal's not even open
maybe
for St. Cloud yet. St. Cloud, technically, it's not open until 5 days after you hire a coach. So it'll just open Monday, same for everybody else.
See, so like, what are we why are we hurrying now? You know what I mean? I think we can take our time, talk a little more here in the chat. Portal can wait, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't got anything else. All I know is that Tommy Fleetwood's kid couldn't hit the green. Bum. Back-to-back years, can't hit the green. Bum. Even if he tries me hardest, I don't care. Learn how to hit the green. You got all the resources at your hands. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't watched any of the Masters coverage. Did I read somewhere that Jason Kelsey is for some reason involved with the Masters?
Yeah, he was like the sideline reporter for the par 3 contest. That fits. Okay. That fits the vibe.
I guess like, if it's for the par 3 contest, I guess.
Kevin Hart was Bryson DeChambeau's caddy for that today. So, dude, they're having – okay, what? Now we're on this. What do you guys think of this? Victor Hovland and Wyndham Clark and Victor Hovland had their girlfriends putt for them today at this thing. How many – like, until there's a ring on that thing, she's not touching the clubs. Like, we need to make this – like, because you could look back in 4 years and be like – I mean, I guess you could with the wife too in theory – but at least a wife is like, oh, this is normal. But you could look back in 4 years and be through 6 girlfriends in that time if you're Victor Hovland. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just thought that was kind of weird today.
I think golf is trying way too hard.
Okay.
I think golf is trying way too. I just think golf is trying too hard, and
I don't
I'm
watch
very.
golf. I don't play golf, so
This is up your alley.
I started playing golf a year ago, so I'm very new to the game. But I
my
kind of
friend now
like
plays golf. I'm so over golf.
Sid. You got to come down and you got to play.
No, I don't. I'll drive the
Yeah, the Junior Pod Open.
Oh god,
The Junior Pod Open. Maybe we can get Tony to pay for
I
it.
actually was on the golf team in 8th grade, 8th and 9th grade.
I don't like golf.
I
but I'm
pretty
the
much
only
just did it because
actual
one of my
golfer in the
friends
group.
was on the golf team, and we would just like dork around and like do other stuff the whole time. I did win a putting contest once, and I won Dairy Queen. So
It sounds like you're a decent golfer then.
The
I'm
only
not.
person
I'm
in the
really
group
not.
that's won
I'm
anything in
bad. I
golf
can't hit the
besides
ball far
good
or
time.
accurately. So that's like the two big things.
I can't do either. Like I said, I'm still super new to the game. But one thing I like about golf is that it's not like other sports. You don't scream all the time, and you're not chanting, and there's no face paint, and you're not.
But
You know,
should.
there's no. So
I like
would
a good
train.
scream.
But you should. Yeah.
You should not be screaming. You shouldn't be screaming at
Oh.
all. And I don't know. I don't find Jason Kelsey to be a super magnetic personality. I'm not like, oh shit, Jason Kelsey's on. I gotta watch Jason Kelsey. I don't feel. I just think
Dude,
that
but
golf
his
is trying
brothers,
way
his
too
brothers
hard.
engaged to Taylor Swift, dude. Come on.
I think he's more annoying than Jason Kelsey is.
Come on,
And
dude.
I should
Taylor
specify
Swift.
his television personality is more annoying. Obviously, I don't know Travis Kelsey, and Travis Kelsey could kill me with his bare hands, but it just feels like golf is
Jason
trying
could
way
too.
too hard to be something that it's just not.
I don't know. I like
Okay.
golf. I like yelling after a putt that I make, you know. But I get where you're coming from.
Okay.
I still take my hat off after the round and shake hands.
Oh, I do that
with
too.
everyone
I do that
play
too. But
with.
I think that's like more of a funny thing than like I'm doing this because I need to do this.
I think it
How many
shows
beer-
respect for competition. It
How
shows
many
respect
beers
for
do you
your
crush
fellow
per
competitors.
round?
How many beers?
Yeah.
I've been sober for 3 years.
Yeah. So 0.
Oh, I'll crush a case of Guinness 0.0
Yeah. Yeah.
on
Beer
the
per
golf
hole.
course.
You can crush
It
those
depends
at the Junior Pod Open. You'll crush 0.0s beers. I'll crush actual beers, and Sid will be tweeting scoops about the portal.
I was
from
just
the
say I
Oh,
do not like.
Sid will
beer.
be like, "What do you mean you guys have to pee again? Stop!
Yeah.
This is going to take so
I do
long."
not like beer. Not.
I don't
like
get good service out here to get my portal scoops up.
it. Yeah, exactly. Gotta take a business call.
Sorry, I hear this
Business
Mercyhurst.
Business
I
call.
hear this Mercyhurst player might be going to Alaska Anchorage now.
Yeah, that's the scoop segment. That's
Just
the
going to
scoop.
start calling her Sid Scoops.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that.
For sure.
We need to get Sid Scoops on junior hockey.
I don't have enough people that connect me except you, Drew. I don't have that many connections. People too
Emails
scared.
are on websites, Sid. Every day, a new
Emails are on
connection is
websites.
made. Every day, a new connection's made on LinkedIn. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I got crazy connections on LinkedIn. You'd be surprised. I have a lot of LinkedIn connections. Been on that LinkedIn grind.
Isn't everybody at APX required to have like 5,000 connections on LinkedIn?
5,000? No, not required. But we definitely do try to have a decent amount of LinkedIn stuff.
Okay. I was talking to one of your employees last summer. He was
Required?
just adding random people on LinkedIn because he wanted to be the first person to get to 1,000 connections or something. He's like, "Oh, I kind of know that guy. I know that guy. I know that
I've heard of
guy.
this person.
I know that guy."
I like that.
Is that a good
All right,
place to
Sid.
end it?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sid, you got any other things you want to talk
No,
about?
I'm good. I got portal scoops I gotta get to. So
Yeah,
I think
my
we should
bad,
wrap
my
it up.
bad.
So, thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode of the YTH Junior Hockey Pod. Not too many tangents today. A lot of good content, honestly. But thanks so much for listening. Once again, thanks to our sponsors, the USHL and APX Hockey. And for myself, for Peter, and for Drew, thanks so much for watching/listening. And we'll be back probably next week to talk about the playoffs.